department is administrative, and from under the GM projects, you are having your finance officer, admin officer, project manager, civil project manager, electrical project manager, mechanical, and similarly under the finance officer, you have your chief accountant, accountant one, two, which means their subordinates. And under the project manager civil, you have your architect, civil assistant engineer, junior engineer, and literally your estimating and costing persons, structural design, chief engineer, assistant engineer, junior engineer, followed by your drafting, construction, and in your construction sector you have your chief engineer, assistant engineer, junior engineer. So like this, I wanted you people to list out all the categories of the activities under which the different type of labors or employees are employed. So this is one such example where you have your finance, architect, estimation, costing, structural design, drafting, construction. Under construction, you're going to have your procurement team as well as your execution team. So you have to sit and decide under procurement team what are the list of employees you can put, and under the execution team what are the list of employees you can put. Similarly for architecture, I'm going to put it for planning, modeling, and animation. So this, again for structural design, I'm going to give it for analysis and design. So two different teams. So you have to sit and work out. I don't want any like any copycat from yours. You should like you have to do it on your own. I don't want anyone good souls to circulate this. I request again. I don't want any good souls from your class to circulate it. I wanted only unique. Everyone should produce a unique organizational structure. I don't want any copycat. If I found out any copycat, I will just award zero for both of them. Those who circulated and also those who got, I mean, those who copied. So remember, you can browse through your sources. You can refer to any textbooks. You can start preparing. Probably today is February 2nd. You have to submit this by this week end. That is on Sunday. Sunday evening. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Once this class is getting over, like I'll be posting this question with this example slides. I'll be posting in your Google Classroom. You can start your assignment and you can submit it by Sunday. That is on 7th February evening. You can give me the deadline. This time only the date I'm going to fix and the time you people are going to fix. Sunday morning.
11:59 p.m.
11:59 p.m. You can probably ask it for 8. Okay. Okay. Just tell me. Any slot you want, morning or afternoon or evening, whichever is comfortable for you. You can fix your
Monday, 8
timing
p.m.
now. Monday 8 p.m. You wanted on Monday evening. I told the submission is going to be on Sunday. I don't want to drag this to next week. As this assignment is very small. Yes. Do you have any assignment submission? Any other seminars? Any other works to be done by this week? Let me check whether you have anything. Do you have any seminars or you have any important things to be done this week? Any assignments? Any submissions? Any deadlines? Do you have?
No, ma'am.
Both the sections. Don't have. You may get in the future, but I'm asking, but by now. If someone is giving you also, don't tell them that Nandini ma'am has given us assignment. You know how our assignment is going to be. It's very simple. If you sit today, you can finish it today. So take your time, do it properly. I wanted it only for the construction construction firm. I don't want any type of organization. Only for the construction. Probably you can take any project. Either you can take it in the two sectors. You can take your own project. Project means a construction of a multi-story building, or for that, or the general construction firm. So you can decide whatever you want. So both will be considered. If you're taking any projects, so what are the activities going to be done? For that, how you're going to frame your organization. You can do that way, or you can generally on general you can just frame your organization structure like how it is going to be. But remember, the mark is going to be for 5 marks. I wanted you to list all the persons working there, which means from your low level till the top level. I want all the persons. I don't want you to miss anyone. Okay. So, as you people told, you don't have anything. So, let's start first. We'll have our assignment submission on Sunday evening 6 p.m. Is it okay? Then later, you should not come and ask for postponing it. Now itself, I'm opening this time slot to you. You can fix the time. I'm talking to you. Anyone can reply. Whoever is going to reply is going to help your friends fixing the time slot.
8 p.m. ma'am.
8 p.m. Okay. So we'll have it as Sunday 8 p.m. submission time. Okay. I wanted you people to submit it before. And I don't want getting junks of messages and junks of comments telling that, ma'am, I was not able to upload it at the last minute, ma'am. So kindly consider. So this time, persons who are going to submit after 8 p.m., their assignments will not be considered. Okay, because you have five 5 days time, solid 5 days, sorry, 5.5 days you have. Okay, so you should not come and tell at the last minute, ma'am, I have uploaded, there was some network issues, and I want all the submission to be done only through Google Classroom. As we already have a classroom there, so I wanted all our submissions to be done only through Google Classroom. And people, I don't want any late submission. I will not be considering the late submission, and I don't want any mails or WhatsApp assignments. So WhatsApp or mail assignments will not be considered. In that case, it's waste. You can literally not submit it. Okay? Is it okay? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to today's class. Probably this took more time. Okay. So can anyone give a recap of the previous class?
We saw about ethics and moral factors that affects delegation, elements of delegation, and then about manpower management.
Okay. So we started with our unit 2. Unit 2 is nothing but our manpower. Unit 1 is quite a small unit where we started with the projects, forms, managers, leaders, their policies, their characteristics, their qualifications. Simply, unit 1 is very simple. And we are moving to unit 2. Our unit 2 is nothing but the manpower plan. We starting with manpower planning. We've already started and we saw what are the main objectives and who are the persons working in our firm. So we saw in the construction industries, these people are the big bosses of our construction sector. Without them, you cannot do anything. You need the HR team, you need the engineers team, you need the architectures team. Similarly, you need your labor teams, which includes your welders, carpenters, bar binders, masons, operators, equipment operators, and workers performing blast at quarries. So all those things are going to be, these persons are going to be a huge manpower team. So each type of manforce has its own qualification, certification, and license. And this also we saw for each and every type of job they are performing, they do have their license and certification. Like after checking their certification and license only, you'll be offering them the that kind of job. So manpower planning types. You have different types of manpower planning. So types and decisions are made by the managers. for the existing type of staffs. So what are the type of decisions or planning you're going to do? So this is the type and this is the decisions required. For the existing staff, you're going to, you already have their performance. They're already working on a project. You know they are performing. You're going to evaluate and give them the performance appraisal, and you have to check for their productivity. So based upon the how quickly they are able to produce the target or achieve the target, and how they are working and how intense they are into their job deployment, and equal opportunities. You have to check whether they are getting equal opportunities or priorities when they are assigned to a job. Literally, you have to check for training sessions. Frequently, you have to conduct training sessions so that you can make your own employees, uh, like you can update them with all the new technologies and the methodologies till date, and you can provide them remunerations and promotions or career development. So these are the things. If they are performing well, then you can go for all those things. Then new recruits. So when you are going to recruit a new manpower planning, when you're going to take a new manpower planning, so what you will do? You're going to recruit some few officials for your firm, probably any officials or a type of engineers or architects. So what you will be doing that? So you have your recruitment methods. Under the recruitment methods, you will be having some strategies based upon this procedure you'll be following. This is the minimum for engineers. This is your BTech is going to be your minimum eligibility, followed by your 70% or 60% in your 10th and 12th. So you will be setting some minimum eligibilities. They have to satisfy the minimum eligibilities, and you as in every individual organization has their own type of recruitment methodologies. They'll be having the selection procedures, and probably they'll be having the written exam followed by your interviews and followed by the group discussions, or how you people are interacting. When it comes to an organization, people will definitely have a group interaction. They'll be evaluating with the group discussions. They'll be checking whether you are engaging with others and you're letting space to others also. They'll be evaluating in this type of manners. And inductions, training programs, they'll be like once you are getting recruited, they'll be giving you training sessions. Because as we already saw in a previous thing, they are going to mold you to their organization. You are highly qualified, you're technically good, your communication skills are good, so they are recruiting you and they are going to give you or offer training sessions, and they are going to mold you to the methodology of their own individual organization. They are going to train you and teach you with the list of rules and regulations or ethics morals which their own organization are following. And they set you with the terms of contract. Initially, they take you for the contract. If they'll evaluate your performance based upon the type of recruitment. If that recruitment is only a temporary process, they'll take it in terms of contract. Or if it's going to be a permanent, initially they'll be having some evaluation period. For that, they'll be taking you some probably 1 year or 3 years. They'll be having you in temporary, and then after your performance is good, they'll be making you as a permanent. And potential staff for that type is potential staff. For that, what they're going to do is recruitment methods, public relations, wage or salary levels, employee benefits. We already saw what is public relations in our unit 1. Wage or salary levels. So you are having some 10 engineers working in your firm, where only 2 or 3 are uh, performing in excellent manner. So definitely only the 2 or 3 will be getting a good salary, or they'll be provided hikes. They'll be their salary will be increased, and they'll be easily getting more benefits compared to all others. Leavers. Leavers are nothing but the persons who are going to leave the firm or they leave the organization. Dismissal for poor performance. If their performance is not up to the expectations or not up to the standards of that particular organization, then they are to be sent out. Literally, retirements. The people who are at the age of retirements, like once they are getting retired, they have to be sent out of the organization. And redundancy procedures, labor turnover. We'll be seeing what are those things. And personal functions role. So what is personal functions role? According to Institute of Personnel Management, the personal functions role in human resource planning, we can simply call it as HRP, human resource planning, are to okay, to simulate awareness among management of the importance of planning human resource policies and programs for the future of the they'll be planning your future. You have There are certain rules and regulations, policies and programs predicting your future. So how effective it will be when this persons are this personal management is going to play the role of its organization's development or the growth of an organization. So to encourage the allocation of appropriate resources to training, retraining, that is you'll be providing training session, and retraining is nothing but again frequently when then and there, or annual training program, or like once for a while, every 5 years you'll be having some training program. It's nothing but you already have good set of staffs working in your staffs. Here means going to be your all level of employees. So you have a good set of staffs. You're going to update them or upgrade them to till dates technologies. So you're going to provide them some training sessions, and you're going to develop the ability of them to meet the organizational and the individual needs. So as it is growing every day, so we have to update ourselves rather than relying mainly on the external recruitment or an ad hoc and to work closely with management and advise on the development and implementation of up-to-date approaches to planning the human resource, to monitor and adopt plans on a continuous basis with corporate and inline management. So the next is again the line management. So now they are going to suggest first was personal functions role. Now they are giving it for line management's role. You know what is a management? How they are going to take it for the resource planning. So to give systematic consideration to the factors like to affect their part of the organization over coming years and the likely impact of these factors on the number and skills of the persons. So it is based upon the number of persons working there and how efficient skills they possess. To identify the training and development needs of the staff in the light of the performance, potential and likely positions to be filled, to ensure that employees clearly understand the standards of performance required for them and how these links are to reward system, like how their performance is. If the performance is good, what they are going to do, and if their performance is bad, how they are going to update them, or like how they are going to provide some training or development session for them. To discuss training and development needs with the employees in the light of the organization's objective and to implement the human resource plan, to establish a regular and relevant system of communications with the employees and to monitor their effectiveness. This is the manpower planning process. You have a corporate objectives, the demand for personnel. Under that, you have the assess personnel supply that is related to your labor market. Based upon the labor market only, you can assess them. Under the assess personnel supply, you have the existing persons working and you have the potential staffs. You have two different categories. They both are related to the estimation of the personals, like how they are working, how their performance is, and if they'll frequent periodic reviews are conducted literally, and training plans, like how what are the things they require actually. If people are till date they are with so many softwares, when you are going for design, like they know, like when you're planning and design, they know AutoCAD and they know StatPro. Similarly, they'll ANSYS, Abacus, they know so much type of softwares, and there are, if there is going to be any new software, you can educate them, you can train your staffs with the latest technology, the latest any updated type of softwares, you can train them with. Similarly, this is the recruitment plans, promotion or succession plan, and this is again pay or productivity proposals. Based upon the performance, you can decide their pay, as well as the based upon the productivity, you can define their pay. Retirement or redundancy programs, and all those things has a periodic review. So, like when you are taking you have joined a firm, you're 3 years into it, they'll check your performance. If your performance is good, they'll go for the promotion. Else, you'll be returning in the same level. Assessing demand for labor. Three questions raised at this stage. What are the three major questions? Assessing, like when you're going to assess the demand for the labor, you have three different questions. Should we train our own staff for selected key posts, or you're going to buy any experienced person from outside, or how much time is required to start this procedure? Nothing but the recruitment stage. You are going to have three different questions. You're already running a firm, so then you will be having a doubt whether you have to train your own staff. You already have a staff, whether you are going to select only the particular, good performance staffs. You're going to select them and you're going to offer the key post, or you're going to hire some experienced person from some other organization or some other plant. You're going to hire them, or how much time it is required to staff this procedure, or you're going to take it a new person, you're going to recruit a new person. So if you're going for new person, how much time will this process be taking? So these are the three main questions when comes when you are going to assess the demand for labor. Estimating personal requirements. Estimating the number of person is done for the following ways. So these are the three main three main methods that comes when you're going to estimate the personal requirements. So by exercising managerial judgment, by using work study techniques, by using statistical techniques. Okay. So by exercising managerial judgments is you take the previous case histories. Case history is something that something has happened and that has been registered. You have already you have the case reports, or the you can collect it from your technical magazines or your journals. You can collect the judgments from that and you can decide which method you can go for. And work study technique, based upon you can conduct an analysis from your own organization. You can list what are the parameters and you can get the solution from it. Using statistical techniques, the third method is nothing but you're going to correlate the previous case histories and you're going to conduct a survey also from the organization. You're going to list the parameters and you're going to identify like what are the things, or what are the things can be done. So you will be getting positive and negative responses. You have to feed in all the positive and negative responses into your statistical softwares and you will be getting out the final output. So using statistical techniques. Assessing the supply of labor. The major areas to be reviewed are the existing workforce, that is the internal labor market. You already have the people or set of staffs working in, so they are called the internal labor market. The supply of potential employees. There's some team is providing you some very technically qualified or sufficient potential employees. They are going to be the external labor market. Typical analysis of supply will focus on the following. These are the main criteria which they are going to follow when they are going to hire or supply of labors when they are supplying. So existing staffs, when it comes to existing staffs, you will be assessing how many number of staffs are there, what are their categories, and what are their skills, and what are their skills based upon their qualification, their educational skills, and performance, flexibility, how flexible they are to work with your organization's environment, and promotability, whether they are in the situation for getting promoted. So all those things will be assessed. Similarly, when it comes to potential staff, so location, categories, skills. So whether if they are trained well, will they be able to cope up? So all those things you have to assess. And attitudes. Attitudes of the employees plays a major role. Like if their performance is good, but their attitude is not good, then they, as an individual they'll be performing. But when they are put into a team to to complete a task, that time their attitude will not match with the attitudes of others. So that also has to be taken care. And competitions and less levers. You have less levers in your organization. When your organization is going in a good, proper manner, when your organizational behaviors has been taken care by your firm, then there will be very less levers in your organization. that is due to their age factors or retirements or any accidents, so they'll not be able to continue. So that case, wastage rates, redundancies, dismissals. If their performance is not good, they have to be dismissed. If their activities are not good, they have to be warned or suspended. So that type of you have only less levers. Assessing internal labor market. Managers need to ask typical questions. Similarly, when it comes to internal labor market, so what are the types of questions when a manager gets? So what are the questions? What categories of staff do we have? So they should know like what are the types of staffs they are having. Probably your engineers, your workers, your daily wage people. So you have different types of workers. How many people do we have in each category? When it is going to be a case of your planning team, how many engineers are there? In a design team, how many engineers are there? Similarly, in your work site, in the construction field, how many engineers are there? So you have to categorize all those things. And what skills are available among the existing workers? So you already have a profile of them. You'll be knowing their background or their data. You can collect from them. You can take a report of what skills they possess and what is the level of performance of various employee categories. This should be assessed. How easy is it to transfer employees between jobs? Are individual skills transferable? What is trade unions view? So all those things should be considered when you're going to assess the internal labor market. That is nothing but the people working in your own firm, you have to frequently assess all those things. How many of our employees are ready for promotion? So if the performance of a few people are good, so they'll be eligible for promotion. You have to assess whether they are eligible for, whether they are ready to get promoted into more demanding roles. What training could be reasonably provided to assess their promotions? If they are in the promotion level, what are the different types of training or the development sessions can be conducted for them to get easily promoted? And how and do we have any age related problems due to imbalance between the experienced? So you have to check whether, like I said, only if you are having people like you are having only early 20s or the from probably from 20 to 30s, this age of people are working. Similarly, you have one same 50-year or 55-year old person in the same team. Will they be having the same mindset to work? Definitely, there'll be conflict arises between due to the age factors, and probably they'll like whatever the senior person does, the juniors will not agree. So this thing happens. Is there balance between the sexes as required? Similarly, when you take the construction site, what happens? We don't have women as site engineers. We don't allow women there. Probably our women civil engineers also don't like to work in that environment because they feel that site works are not safe for them. It is because there are huge number of manpower working at the work sites, so they are feeling that the work site is not that safe for them. So probably women people always like they choose to go for management sites or office works or planning or designing. They probably don't get into execution. So they have to check for whether there is imbalance between the sexes, and are minority groups properly represented? That also has to be checked. What is labor turnover rate? So we'll be saying what is labor turnover rate, how many are to retire, so that is how many are retiring, how many are dissatisfactory, how many are not obeying the policies. So all those things should be assessed and answers to these questions. So after assessing all those categories only, you'll be able to answer it. For that, the supply available more or less matches the forecast of demand. So after having the proper report, we have a set of 10 questions. Probably when you sit and work out on all those set of questions, you will be finally arising out of an answer whether they are feasible or they are not feasible for going for the internal market itself, or you want to hire some labor from outside. That time you will be able to know the supply available more or less matches the forecast. Whether you have a forecast, whether you need some five more very talented performer in your own task, but you have to after assessing the internal market only, you'll be able to know what is three matches, or one person is going to match, or none is going to match, or the five is going to be matched. So, like you, after conducting the survey or analysis only, you will be able to identify whether the demand is getting met. The supply exceeds the forecast requirements in one or more categories. The supply falls short of requirements. That's true. Probably you need five requirements. Sometimes they may be 7 or 8% performing very well in that place. Or probably there might be none or one or two very minimal cases performing. In that situation, like you can categorize whether they are eligible or they are not eligible. External labor market. What are the factors affecting external labor market? So organizations' ability to make full use of the labor market, level of economic activity, how the organization or which level of economic activities are being performed by the individual organization. Are they following the government policies? And what are the new technologies? Are they adopting the new technologies or they are still going with the conventional but they're not updating themselves? Education or training opportunities. So whether they are providing different type of training opportunities or training programs or they are educating their own staff. So all those things are also one of the factors. And population changes, trade union attitudes, wage or salary levels. So, what are the expectations and what the organization will offer? Nature of competition for labors. So, these are the different type of factors that affects your external labor market. Benefits of the planned approach. Okay. So benefits of planned approach. The possible benefits from a planned approach to the acquisition, use and deployment of people. It's nothing but you plan some strategy based upon that you can hire them, you can use them and you can like engage them in different activities through the organization. So these are the different benefits when you go for hiring process. So appropriately skilled and flexible workforce can be developed. Ability to respond to changes. So when there's environmental changes within your own organization, when you're taking up a big project, you already have some 50 people working in your current project. You're going for some big, huge project. So that time you'll be still requiring or you'll be making some changes within the firm. So they'll be like they should accept the changes in the environment. Stability in the core of the workforce, reduced need to recruit externally. So whenever your organization is in the need for recruitment or they are in new vacancies are arising or new positions are developed, that time first you have to always look into your own firm and assess whether anyone is highly qualified or they are more qualified not only in type of degree wise, also based on their performance and their experience. So if you have any senior most persons or if you have the person who's able to tackle all the issues or his performance is very good, you can choose them. If you are not satisfied with the overall performance of your staff or if someone is not suiting you much, then you can go for your external recommend. You can put an advertisement, you can call for the new recruitment for that particular job post. Improved moral and employee relations, improvement in the quality of the product or services, higher productivity. So next is labor turnover. What is meant by labor turnover? Labor turnover is nothing but it is defined as the overall change in the number of people employed. It's nothing but people are leaving out of your business. If they are not satisfied, probably due to retirement of or if they are not satisfied with the environment, the job satisfaction is not there. They are not able to involve themselves in your organization, or your organization is not providing a comfortable environment for them, or if they are overloading, or the work slots or the working hours are different, or it is huge. Imagine, will people return in your own firm if you are continuously giving them 18 to 20 hours work each day? Will they like to return in your firm for a long run? No, definitely they'll skip to some other thing. So this is called labor turnover. Labor turnover can be defined as the overall change in the number of people employed in a business entity during a particular period. Say example in the year 2019 to 2020, we'll take as that was a completed year, we'll take that. So in that particular 1 year or 1.5 years, what happened? How many people left your company? That should be, so each whatever type of organization may be, all these types should be monitored. If you are running a 30 years old firm, or if you are starting a new firm, you should collect some existing data. Nowadays everything has been available in your Google, so you can easily browse and you can collect the data. Previous case histories you can find out, and you can plot it from year wise. So what happened at the starting years? I'm having only 10 members working in my firm, and when I'm growing to 30, I'm having some 100 or 200 people working in my firm. What happens each year? Each year, how many are working, and each year, how many are leaving? Leaving in the sense they are not satisfied, or due to age, retirement, or due to personal reasons. So, what are the reasons and why are they leaving? So when an organization sits and works out why people are leaving from their organization, only then they'll be able to analyze that they are putting in so much stress, or the working environment or the employee environment is not safe, or they are not comfortable. It is not smooth for the people to work on. So it takes into consideration the number of existing personnel, new joinees, and the total number of workers as listed in the payroll at the end of the given period. So simply, there is another term called labor turnover rate. Now you can understand what is labor turnover. Again, there is another term, labor turnover rate. It is nothing but it is a ratio of number of employees leaving your firm during a particular duration divided by, or the ratio by average number of employees that same duration are existing in the same duration into 100. That will give you into 100 percentage. That will give you the labor turnover rate. That is number of people leaving divided by average number of people existing the same year into 100. That will give you the labor turnover rate. And a high labor turnover rate is considered to be unfavorable for the organization's stability and can even result in a temporary shutdown or strike. This happens no in huge industries. When you go for huge industries, what happens when the environment is not comfortable for the employees, or if they are paid less? There may be many factors. They might be paid less, or they may be put on huge stress or huge workload or heavy working hours. They are not given a proper recognition. They are not getting proper promotions. So their hikes are not provided properly, or incentives are not provided, or compensations are not provided, remunerations are not provided. So many n number of factors are there when you consider performance of an employee. If they are not satisfied, if your firm is not providing them the opportunity to explore their talent, or something is suppressing, or maybe your organization is good, but the manager you put under is like he is always pesting you, he's not leaving you in a peaceful, and at the night 12 p.m. is calling you asking for the update. So such thing happen. People are put on stress, and finally, what they'll think, they'll be in a position to leave your firm and they'll skip to another thing. So if high labor turnover is happening, which means the firm is unstable, like it is going to the danger end. So you have to check and you have to rectify that. The entities therefore take up human resource as an integral part of the business. Labor turnovers. For this labor turnover, we have a set of different classifications. We are going to study what are the causes that leads to labor turnover. Avoidable and unavoidable are the two different causes. And what are the effects of labor turnover? So adverse effects and positive effects. Similarly, what are the types of labor turnover? Why people are they are quitting their job and moving on? And strategies. Similarly, finally, we are going to conclude with the overall conclusions of how this labor turnover is happening and why it is happening, how it could be avoided. I think, 1 minute. Okay, let me stop with this session. So we'll be this labor turnover. It should go on in the same class. So that would be good. I suggest. So let me stop with this class. If you have any doubts, you can ask. I have some messages in the chat. Okay. Okay. People, you want 11:59 p.m. as the deadline. As someone asked, you need 11:59, not 8 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am, 11:59.
11:59. Okay, I'll fix it as 11:59 p.m. Okay, no problem. Priorities are given to students, so no issues. We'll have it as 11:59. Yes, your assignment should be only handwritten. I don't want any typed versions. I need a very clear assignment. I don't want anyone to draw the boxes or the categories or the classification tree in your own free hand. I wanted using your scales, pencils. I wanted it to be a neat assignment, not a very scribbly one. Okay? Is it okay? Handwritten. After handwritten, I wanted you to scan that and upload it in your Google Classroom. As the strength is huge, I am again repeating, I don't want any copycat. I want only your own unique version. If it is wrong also, it is okay, no problem. But try to do your own. Yeah.
Like we won't be knowing all the job titles and all.
And that's what I'm asking you to sit and browse. Will anyone just give 5 marks for just giving your just copying something and producing? So you have to sit and browse what are the activities that are entire activities that will be taking place in a construction organization. What are the different teams will be there? You have to sit and explore all those things. So this marks will be awarded for the thing you are going to sit and learn, or you are sit and going to explore. So what are the activities? What are the different categories of people? For that only these marks are going to be given. So once you're going to explore all those things, you'll be getting an idea, okay, these are the so many types of things. If you're missing out one or two, that's okay, no problem.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, students. Don't worry, I'll set the deadline as 11:59 p.m. itself. Okay. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can stay, others can leave. Okay. Thank you all, students.